Hi everyone. While waiting for Honor and Profit to be released on OCTGN, here's a game where I play a very old school deck that revolves around ice destruction. And I thought that since Kit and Parasite recursion decks are so common, why not I try Kit instead? So using Kit, I splash in Data Suckers and Parasites and a Kraken, as you can see in my hand, and hopefully I can destroy enough ice to win. I was quite happy that my opponent happened to be Cerebral imaging, which typically runs low on ice, so it's a very good target for ice destruction. So the enemy will have very few pieces of ice, and as long as there's only one layer of ice in each server, I can easily get through with Kit's ability. This is my mulligan hand, and it's not very good. You don't want to see scavengers early on. I mean, they're good once you draw a test run, but drawing a test run is in itself a challenge. But thankfully, I draw into two clone chips, so they enable my early game. With the Parasite out, I can easily recurse Parasites and cause a lot of trouble to his ice. Which is very good, because one very important thing you need to do against Cerebral Imaging is to deny them credits, whether you use RAM or Count Siphon. And if you don't have either, like me, the best thing you can do is to deny them by forcing them to rest lots of pieces of ice. The big advantage of Cerebral Imaging is that they only need to focus on 2 servers, 3 if you're running Exile beta. With only 2 servers to focus on, they can dedicate like 4 to 6 pieces of ice, very nice hard end the run ice that costs 3 to 5 credits to rest each. And the rest of the credits will go to pumping the hand size and getting their biotics out. So that was good. I managed to run headfirst into the victor and score an agenda. Unfortunately, that was my last click. Had I ran on the first click, I would have been able to Kraken away the Eli, but that didn't happen, which was a huge pity because I really wanted to use that Kraken. Yeah, that's the problem with clicking through Biorock Ice. You don't have any clicks left to enact Kraken. So now I have a Parasite on the Victor. Actually, that might not have been the best idea. The Parasite should have gone on the Eli instead. But since the Parasite's on the Victor already, what I decided to do was to mod in my Dinosaurus so that I can get rid of all these cards in my hand and use the Inti to break the Eli. Very unconventional way of playing, but yeah, it's good to be creative in the game of Netrunner and think on your feet. In my case, I modded Dinosaurus and Inti, all 3 in my hand, and there's nothing else I can do. So the best way to make my time worthwhile now is to play the Inti and use it to break through his R&D. Of course, I can't do it multiple times, and since he sealed up R&D, I'm not going back anytime soon. So now my priority is to draw up as much as I can and find my Code Gate Breaker. It's quite painful playing without Code Gate Breaker. And that's where the problem of my deck comes in. Because I spent so much influence on Parasites and Data Sucker, my only Code Gate Breaker I could include was a single York. And yes, that proves to be very insufficient in this game. I finally draw into my SMC, so I can finally retrieve my York. But that's quite late into the game. So that's very unfortunate. But at least I'm able to get through HQ for free now. So that's exactly what I do. And his Victor is 1 Parasite token away from destruction, so he manually installs over it instead. Of course, he knows that against Kit, you must have double layers of ice, so that's exactly what he does. And I draw into a test run, which means I have the test run scavenge combo, but I don't need it anymore. Ouch! Okay, so I face check on my 3rd click, and it turns out to be an Ichi. That is very painful. I have a Sharpshooter in my deck, but I realized that Ichi is strength 4, Sharpshooter is strength 3. I need 3 credits to break Ichi. Ouch, 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 ouch. So painful to see my York go. But on the bright side, no big loss because I have the test run scavenge combo. So rescuing my York is only a matter of a two card combo. And thankfully the brain damage hit the 1 card that I was okay to lose, which was the plus creep. And to further help things out, I scored the priority requisition. So I'm effectively on match point now, and I'm able to fish out my York next turn. But I forgot that I had professional contacts on the table, so that tag caused me to lose it. But this swings in favor of me once again, because he spent so many credits to res Hive, Ichi, and kill my prof contacts, and land the tag on me. It meant that he had very few credits left, so he ended up trashing 6 cards from his hand. So I was going to check archives later. But for now, I use the test run combo to bring out my York, and I do a check on archives, and I see all his combo pieces thrown in the trash. That makes me feel so happy. And then I click for credits. I forget to scavenge my York back. Yes, yeah, it's late at night. I'm playing. It's been a long day, but oh man, losing my York, that is terrible, terrible, terrible. Now I need to install the York manually, and that's going to consume so much time. This was easily the biggest mistake I made the whole game. Had I got my York up earlier, I could have done more things. I could have gotten more parasites going. I could have broken through his servers more effectively. But now instead, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm clicking for credits, and I throw away my Escher. That's really bad. That is really, really bad. Alright, so both of us continue to surmount our credit leads. This game I haven't been drawing much economy either. One sure gamble early on, and that was about it. And my prof contacts just got exploded, so there's nothing much else I can do. I'm ready for the Hive to self-destruct at any moment. I throw an SMC out, but there's nothing much that I need to fish out with the SMC. Yeah, I think this stands for my unfamiliarity with playing Shaper. All the new tools in Shaper, Sharpshooter costs 1 to bring out and 2 to pump its strength by 3, is it? I think it's plus 3 strength. And Deus Ex costs 3. So most of the time I would like to run with at least 3 credits. Yeah, I'm not completely out of harm's way. Even though Deus Ex and Sharpshooter are both in my decks ready to be tilted at any time, I still must keep in mind that I need to have enough credits to use them, even as one of last resorts. So I continue my Parasite Recursion hijinks by throwing a Parasite on the Ichi. At that point, it was a decision between R&D and HQ. While I have multiple R&D interfaces, I think all the agendas are in HQ. So going there is a no-brainer. The problem with HQ now is that it is very heavily iced up. I've given him way too much time. During this time, I should have been breaking ice with York, throwing parasites around the place, gaining data sucker tokens from archives, and destroying ice every other turn. But instead, I'm spending my turns clicking for credits, drawing for cards. I'm not doing anything productive, and I've allowed him to get to the state whereby I couldn't siege him anymore. He's going to score everything from hand. I have to stop him. I mean, right now, I'm under no pressure at all simply because he has no remote server setup, and all his biotic labels are in the trash, so he can't do anything. But eventually the Jackson will come, and when the Jackson comes, you know your time is up. So never mind. Forget the Jackson. When there's Reclamation Order, you don't have to worry about throwing all your biotic labels in the trash. So he uses Reclamation Order and retrieves all his biotic labels back. So now the timer has been sprung. Now I need to start doing work. First thing I do, install a Parasite on the first piece of ice and get rid of it. Because this counts as encountering the ice, I've used up Kit's ability, and so I must check out. I'm not going to hit another Ichi again. So hopefully, next turn, the Parasite will eat up the Ichi in the innermost piece of ice. So after that, I can begin sieging the 2 ice deep HQ. Thankfully, he has no agenda score yet, so I still have at least 3 3 turns worth of time. Unless he does the crazy combo in 1 turn combo. But I don't see any Jacksons around, so I highly doubt he's running that combo. I face check the second piece of ice because I'm pretty desperate by this point, and it turns out to be a hive. So with 2 hives, I'm pretty much locked out of HQ. The problem is that, unfortunately, the problem is I've exhausted all my recursion tactics. All my scavengers and my clone chips have been used up. I willfully trashed 2 of my scavengers, and now it's coming to haunt me. If I still had those scavengers in hand, I could still play my data suckers and scavenge them for parasites. But now that I have trashed them because of hand size limits, I'm in a very tough spot. So the HQ is not going to work. I'll have to siege R&D instead. And that is pretty hard, seeing that there are 2 Elis. Inti is also in the trash, which means that I cannot attack with Inti, even no matter how many credits I have. So right now, it's more or less game over. He scored 4 points. He purposely scored the efficiency committee so that Hive would still be active. Had he scored a 3-pointer, I wouldn't be able to. I would be able to get through HQ for free. So that's why he scored the 2-pointer efficiency committee instead. So on my final desperate move, I break the Eli. I let the Ichi fire and kill my entire raid, and then I click through the final Eli. I see 3 cards and none of them were agendas. He later revealed to me that all his agendas were in his hand, so it was game over pretty much. And yeah, that was it. So I was wondering why Cerebral Imaging is so powerful. It is very vulnerable early game, and I think my Gate Knight deck can handle Cerebral Imaging decks. I just need to change my tactics. I need to be way more aggressive early on and use my emergency shutdowns ruthlessly. I need to be willing to throw inside jobs at HQ or R&D just to get in there, just to score agendas. Against Cerebral Imaging, you cannot take it to the late game, and you must deny them credits at every opportunity from the very beginning to have any shot of beating them. And when I'm playing game against these Cerebral Imaging decks, I will have to remember to mulligan into a hand that will allow me to play very aggressively early on, as opposed to one which sets up breakers and starts gaining money slowly. That's not game anyway. So yes, that's how to beat Cerebral Imaging. I think my deck is fine against Cerebral Imaging because it forces them to double ice their servers as well. The only problem is that this game I got a little unlucky with the draws. I played horribly, and all in all, yeah, wasn't the best play from me. But still, my opponent played well, and he knew when to rest his eyes and when to just throw everything in the trash, knowing that he can get them back later, which was quite nice to see. Thanks for watching. See you around.